Hello, welcome to Ask Love Coach and welcome to my marriage masterclass. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, it's going to be a very simple and very direct one. I understand a lot of us have our own perspectives and understanding about why we should forgive people who hurt us because it seems as if it was very intentional. It seems as if forgiving them is like saying you accept their wrongs. Forgiving them means that I have to stay with them. Forgiving the person means that I have to demean my feelings. It's almost as if you're telling me to shut off my feelings and kind of allow people to just hurt me and get away with it. That is not by any chance means what I'm trying to express on this video. I just want you to come with an open mind when you are watching any of my videos because if you have um, if you have prejudged the video, you're not going to actually take away the lessons that the video is intended for you. So every video that I make belongs to literally everybody. It can be consumed by singles, couples, young, old. So I am really hoping that this platform is able to make impact at least one person. This particular topic, I know I've taught it in different portals or channels that I belong to, like TikTok, Facebook, and the rest of the channels. And I have gotten a little bit of um, negative feedback in the sense that people just feel that forgiveness should not be, it's not a requirement. Forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness shouldn't be happening. There's a popular, um, I think, a psychologist who spoke about forgiveness and the fact that the person has a level of authority and success in their career or field. Chosen field, a lot of people would almost sign or co-sign what certain caliber of people say just by virtue of their profession, their intelligence, and rank. Maybe not rank per se, but just because they have a huge voice and audience, um, it negates the fact that these people are humans, just like myself, who is talking about forgiveness. A lot of the things I say on my portal is also part of me coaching myself and learning. So it's not as if I do not relate or understand or have put myself in situations where I have to really like ask myself if I'm doing everything I have said to people. But it's not even about me at this point because we all have different journeys. We are embarking on different journeys, and it's important for you to focus on growing and being a better version of yourself. This isn't about comparison. A lot of the, even having seen different topics of people who have delivered, you know, forgiveness in any of them, in any of the platforms, it seems as if a lot of them are almost forbidding forgiveness. So I just wanted to just give a little bit of perspective so that people will understand the importance of freedom and forgiveness being part of freedom. Some people think that if I have a lot of resentment or some heavy burden about somebody's behavior towards me or in a manner they hurt me, it means that I'm not able to sleep. I should not be able to eat because the burden is so large. It's not always the case. Some people are just blessed with sleeping, so it does not always have to go there. Because again, if you are telling yourself that you are not going to forgive someone, as long as I sleep okay, as long as I eat okay, as long as my life hasn't stopped, it's not always an indicative of you living in freedom and in your fullness. A lot of people who are struggling to forgive, they are not actually living in freedom. So they go into, especially this, since this is all about, relationship, like romantic relationship. So people who have the perspective that I shouldn't forgive because it's a choice, they end up moving to a different relationship with their guards up, with their walls up, and they wonder why they are not really leaving, because it's just like saying, I want love, but I can't give love, or I want love, but I'm scared. It's almost as if, can we just listen to this as many times as possible, just so we can gain perspective to know that love requires you to actually take some level of risk. Love is risky. Um, it's beautiful, yet it's risky, just by virtue of not having the abilities and the powers to fully understand the intentions and perspective of the person you're adding or joining your life with. But would you say you're not going to leave or love again just because you were hurt from your previous or past relationship? So, um, people watching my video will not just be watching the video with a closed mindset or not having that growth mindset. So I know I've really said a lot of things. It's almost as if I've summarized my video, but still going to share it the way I've laid it out. So today's topic, like you can already see, is why forgiveness. Why? Maybe when you understand the benefits of forgiveness, it will be a lot easier for you to truly consider it. So I have a few points just to back it up so you can see that forgiveness, despite it being a choice, despite it being complex or complicated, it has really well meaning, beautiful reasons why you should consider it. This is in no particular order, but I'm just going to go with the list that I've prepared. So it helps you to emotionally heal. A lot of people who are in relationships today that haven't fully given in 100%, or they are guarded, or they are just walled up. You can see that a lot of that stems from emotional sickness and bitterness, resentment that they have built over years, maybe without even being from another romantic relationship or relationships they have built so far in their lives, family relationship, work colleagues, and other well-meaning, relationships they've been in. You forgiving will help you to truly heal your emotions, because hurt would actually stir a range of emotion: anger, resentment, bitterness. But when you forgive, that is like a step forward to healing your emotions. It's not always easy, but it's possible. And once you are able to heal your emotions, that is powerful. You are not only growing emotionally, but even in your personal life, because you're able to actually, offer empathy. You're able to actually listen to people to understand their own perspectives or their viewpoints with the actions they took in respect to how they hurt you. That would aid you in so many ways. You having to grow emotionally, because a lot of people do not have or lack emotional growth. And that is why it seems as if a lot of people are just stuck in certain, psychological age. They don't have any level of self-awareness or any form of maturity. But forgiveness would actually give you that opportunity to look beyond yourself. We all have the selfishness and tendencies, whether we know it or not. But that is a lot of the time where most of us are stuck with forgiving people, because it's all about me, 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 myself, and I. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you do things just like with many other things in life in moderation. So another great point would be restoration of relationships, because a lot of us have low key, in some words, capacity builds a lot of hatred with people who are supposed to love, or people we love, especially family members, people that we share children with. Some of us are not in talking terms. We can literally consider a lot of hurtful things when it comes to people that we once shared love with. Once again, back to romantic relationships. So when you are able to forgive, because a lot of people think that when I forgive you, I have to stay with you, especially in a romantic relationship. When somebody has hurt you beyond measures, you forgiving them is not even about them. And you don't have to stay with the person. You can forgive someone from a different location, from a different environment. Because what you're doing, you think that you forgiving them means that you're actually empowering them to continue to hurt you or continue to. No, that's not what it means. It means that you're freeing yourself. Remember, it's all about liberation, it's all about freedom. The Bible talks so much about freedom. Sorry, I didn't mean to be too religious in this topic, but it's kind of low key connected. So it's really important for you to forgive people so that you're able to restore relationships. Because sometimes people genuinely make mistakes with their actions, not intending to hurt you, but unfortunately it went that way. But once again, not every relationship you have to rekindle, not every relationship you have to, you know, um, coexist with. But you having to release people that have hurt you gives room for you to love even more and better and bigger. So forgiveness requires a lot of actions, and restoring relationship, because most times when you're able to do it multiple times with various people, it's almost as if you can easily replicate it or implement it in every other aspects of your life, and that is powerful. Not only you're emotionally turned down or worn out because you are not releasing that poison that you are holding on to, but it also has it has physical health benefit. A lot of us going through or harboring resentment and grudges has its own negative impact on our physical well-being as well, in terms of health generally, like blood pressure, your stress level, and some people, they get to eat a lot, that also affects their weight. um, your immune system is not functioning at its capacity. So all of this can have a lot of negative impact. So you might not know the depth of the consequence of you holding a grudge or having to build bitterness and resentment due to hurt. Um, Sometimes you might not see those implications or effects, but it kind of connects with some of the underlying ailments or illnesses that you go through without consciously being aware of it. It can go a lot of ways in which you might not have depth to what it is you're suffering due to you holding back and not releasing the pain, because your body is going to react at some point. When you keep holding negativity, because your body is not designed that way, you will see that at some point your body is going to rebel. and it's going to rebel through certain, you know, illnesses. You start to have anxiety, depression, because your stress level is just heightened, blood pressure, and many other ones that I don't even know, because of course I'm not a medical person, but that stems from these levels and different aspects of you holding on to the poison that comes with unforgiveness. It can also be linked to spiritual or religious beliefs. So for many religious people, spiritual people, it might come across like almost like a requirement or standards, for people who are spiritual, because it will also help you in your spiritual growth, because you know the importance of how forgiveness would help you to grow, not only within your faith, but the importance, most importantly, for your soul and your flesh. Remember, you're three persons. So if this resides in your soul, it's going to also show up in your body, because your body is where the soul incubates. So it could be through because you're a religious person or spiritual person, but it actually goes beyond you just looking at it from a physical, because we understand we're not perfect, we hurt people as well. So it's not like you have never done that, whether not willingly, knowingly or unknowingly. But if somebody is able to forgive you, do you think you're perfect? So because you know you're not also perfect, you want people to give you the level of grace, if not more, than you are willing to give to them. You become what you desire. So letting go of the past, um, once again, is kind of tied to all of the things I'm saying, because it just frees your mind to absorb and retain more positive things, things that will make you feel more healthy, things that will help you to grow, things that will help you to be the better version of yourself, things that will help you to, make positive impact in the world, and in your family, in your space, in your own world in general. It's very empowering to know that you're able to forgive people. People will look at you, just looking at you can impact on them, can send off that energy for them to know that, oh, there are actually some people who have this level of emotional maturity. They almost think you're, you know so like almighty, in the sense that you are not, you're operating in your higher values and in your higher frequency, so to speak, you know, because you're at this point, you're just shifting the focus from the person who caused you pain. Remember, you don't have control over what someone else does. You only are able to control what you do, what you say, and how you move. So you are removing, you're shifting the focus. So the focus is on you instead of on the person who hurt you, because it's almost as if you are just living for the person. It's like you are drinking poison and expecting the rat to die, because all of those negativities are birthing something that you cannot see. But shifting the focus and allowing yourself the grace to claim your power back, to claim your control back, to be in charge of what you know you are in charge of, or you're capable of controlling, as opposed to just focusing on the person who hurts you. It's also very important for you to consider it, just because it can help you to break the cycle of hurt. A lot of us are actually, um, you know, perpetuating the lives our forefathers lived, or there's a pattern, generation, the generational layers of how we have inherited unforgiveness and inherited negative behaviors that stem from this. but you are able to break that pattern and you're able to do differently. You're able to impact in your family, differently. Just having the clarity and understanding that people are not perfect, and you harboring and holding on to the pains caused by people you are not in charge of how they make decisions and the kind of decisions they make. You're not living. You're walking on an eggshell. You're constantly looking around and hovering, turning back to see if someone is here to get me. That is not freedom. That is not freedom. So you are just creating a different and a more positive, atmosphere for your future. This is a personal decision you have to make, whether you choose to or you choose to hold on to the poison and just suffer in penury. If I may ask you, holding on to unforgiveness, how has it worked for you so far? Some of us don't even know the impact or the magnitude of us holding back to pain and unforgiveness. Some of us don't. I want to really stress the fact that forgiveness is a journey, it's a decision, it's a journey that you have to be patient and you have to give yourself some grace. You have to trust the process, but you have to continue to gaze at the benefits, because that's the way you would be able to carry on. Because oftentimes we see people who hurt us, it seems like they are just living, they are just doing great. It's like, are you serious? You hurt me so badly and you're acting as if nothing ever happened? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Just because you are still focusing on them. You're still focusing on their broken self to come to you and apologize. Some might want to consider you having a conversation about what led up to what happened that caused you that level of pain and hurt. But some will not be able to give you any form of clarity, and that's still okay. Remember that you forgiving people is not about them. That's why there must be a shift somewhere in your mind to first and foremost understand that you are making this choice for your own emotional, physical well being. Because if you don't, it's going to have a trickle effect in every decision and the kind of life you live thereafter. So you will have to make the choice whether or not you want to hold on to that level of pain. Some of us will bury it thinking that we don't remember it. I'm good, I'm okay, I am this and I'm that. I understand that we all have different journeys and the way we see hurt is different. Some of us will look at someone's hurt and be like, is that really a hurt? It's not to diminish what you feel, it's not to diminish how you feel, but it's very important for people to truly understand that forgiving people, no matter the magnitude of the hurt, is for your own good, especially your emotional and your physical good. Just looking at what could happen as a result of building bitterness and resentment, your body will react through stress, blood pressure high, depression sets in. But when you release all of these things, you see that you have detox from toxicity, you have detox from poisons, you have detox from all of those emotional sicknesses and pain that is causing you from to move forward. When you see people, you're constantly thinking they're here to get me just because A hurt you. You're not fully living in your fullness. You're not living in freedom of your identity on earth. But when you understand the benefit of forgiveness, it will be easy for you to understand that life is too short, so I make wise use of my stay here. That does not mean that you forgiving means you're stupid or you are empowering somebody who hurts you. It's like you're free for hurting me. Oh, yes. Because they are free, that means you have to set yourself free. How do I even begin with the journey of forgiving people? I have kind of crafted a few steps for you to consider. So, I am not taking away the fact that it's not always easy. In fact, it's not easy, or it's never easy for you to consider forgiving someone, because hurt is hurt. That's why it's called hurt. You are not you are not empowering them, but you are empowering your personal growth. This is your journey to growth. So trust the process. One of the first things you need to do is to acknowledge that actually there's some hurtful feelings here. This is how I feel. If you have a language story, it's even better. So it's okay for you to feel that way, because oftentimes we're quick to consider whether or not somebody sees my hurt as a hurt. Especially when you talk to certain people who have elevated in life in terms of their spiritual growth, and it's almost as if they trivialize your pain to the point where it seems as if they're asking you to suppress it. Remember, this is who you are. This is what is happening to your mind and your body, and you have to acknowledge it. This is not someone else's pain. You know the level of relationship you have with the person who hurt you. That is why it cuts so deep. So you are clear with the situation at hand. Maybe up to the point you actually understand the perspective of the person who wronged you. Like you kind of have some level of understanding of what made them to go down that route, or why they did what they did. You're able to give them grace. You're able to kind of empathize with them. It almost sounds silly, like saying that somebody poked you and you're actually trying to say sorry to them, when the reverse should have been the case. A lot of the things we do when we have grown and matured emotionally, it could sometimes look low-key silly, but that's not true. Because if you understand, because I always want to see the benefits of what I do in terms of my actions, and that helps my mindset a lot. A lot of things I may not be able to relate to, just because I'm operating on a different frequency. And that's why I tell people, especially my clients, to try and sharpen their spiritual side, because it kind of helps you to actually minimize certain things, not because they are actually that little, but because you are viewing it from a different perspectives in general, you know. So, but anyways, you understand the situation at hand. You're able to understand the circumstances and the reason or motivation behind why the person did what they did. So holding on to the resentment actually affects you. But when you release that negative emotion, like you're consciously deciding to release it and let it go, or only add to you, not take away from you. In some cases, you might have the dignity, or someone who actually is considerate enough to want to communicate, so you can hash things out. In some cases, they're going to just ghost you. What do you do in that moment? Do you hang on to whenever they come around? So therefore, I'm going to just hold on to the hurt. What if you were to leave this world sooner? Would you be proud that you actually went through this level of rigor and pain and hurt, just to not even have time to release it and start to leave, but just cruise and exit the world just like that? I always have this at the back of my mind, because life is not permanent. That is why you should focus on things that actually matters to you the most. If you hold yourself captive, you haven't done yourself any good. You have done yourself disservice. You have. How can you come on earth and just kind of hoard every pain and close it up into yourself and think that's okay. I don't know, but I don't think it's a wise thing to do. It's very important for you to actually give yourself grace, give people grace, but that doesn't mean you should be lame, stupid, and just lay up on the floor for people to step on you. I think why people sometimes, I don't know their understanding of forgiveness, but they feel as though if I forgive you, I have to continue in a bad relationship. If I forgive you, I have to stay with you still. If I forgive you, that is how I have to demonstrate to you that I've forgiven you. As opposed to, I have forgiven you, but we do not have to coexist. I love you, but I have to leave. So it's not about how the person who you're forgiving wants you to act for them to receive your forgiveness, but you releasing them for your own peace of mind, for your own good, for your own joy. That is all that matters. Because the people or the person who caused you pain may never understand how much the depth of the pain they've caused you. So let's even say you hashed it out through communication, and that's where we are now, but you have to also set new boundaries. Very important. So you're going to set new boundaries. And whenever you set boundaries, it's important for you to also constantly go back to the boundaries to see what's working and what's not working. And that boundaries is bound to be amended at will. When you shift the focus from the person who hurt you to yourself, that would help you to start healing and you start to grow. You are going to be focusing on different aspects of yourself because now you are evolving, now you are growing and healing. That means your activities, your habits would have to shift so that you maintain the journey that you have started. Just once again, you are going to practice empathy. um we're all we all have traumas, we're all broken. A lot of people stigmatize trauma and brokenness to seem as if um it's for certain caliber of people. No, even a child that was born today is already experiencing trauma. Trauma simply means anything that has any form of impact on your emotion. You crying is trauma. So trauma doesn't always mean that it has to be something over dramatic, something huge and wild. No, it's as simple as you even hearing a no from somebody you love or somebody that you thought cared for you so much. Even telling your own child, no, don't climb, don't do that, is almost can be seen as trauma to them because that could kind of shake up their emotion where they become upset, they become sad. So, but when you understand that as humans, we have issues, underlying issues, some of us are aware of them, some of us aren't. We all have this level of struggles we strive to overcome on a daily basis, which, you know, knowingly, unknowingly. But when we understand that as human, nobody's perfect. Me having empathy on you does not mean I am diminishing myself. That's not what it means. But it means that I understand the memo of the world. I am here temporarily, so I am going to live fully. I'm going to be living fully, whatever that looks like for me. Peace is usually my priority. So when it comes to anything that would puncture or affect or impact on my peace, that becomes a fixable problem. Um, Oftentimes you need to give it time, but how much time is timeable or required? What is really the what would you consider a suitable time frame for you to say I am going to actually, you know, work on healing from this hurt or actually forgive somebody, the quicker you do it, the better. Time doesn't wait for anyone because life is not guaranteed. Tomorrow belongs to God. That means you shouldn't actually like obsess over your pain and monopolize your pain and just upset. I don't know, like, no, pain should be released as quickly as possible. I'm not trying to tell you, oh, you have to show pain or sit in it for a month, 1 week, 2 weeks. I just want you to be quick with it because it's not worth your time. Be quick with it, but actually, you're also adjusting and aligning. And, because there isn't any manual to life, but there are certain standards and principles that will help you to navigate a lot quicker from somebody who didn't have any kind of knowledge, prior knowledge of how to navigate in different spaces. Holding on to resentment and bitterness has, I can't see anyone it's ever done good for. No, because it just keeps you in a zone of fear, of of not living in your in like in freedom. You're guarded. You're not letting you're not trying to actually kind of be vulnerable or just leave like this is who I am or this is what I'm about. So that is one of some of the things I would encourage you to do if you are wondering how to even begin. I was working with one of the clients who seemed to have, some personal family issues that has lingered in their marriage, and it has kept them so bound. Their relationship has been stagnant, and it's really having a huge impact. And like I said in my previous slides, where you can break that course because it's almost considered as a generational curse for some people because it's as if this is how my family is, this is the pattern of my family, this is part of my family values, or this is what I've seen, this is how we behave. And it's not, you don't inherit everything from your family just by virtue of you being part of the family, but you can start to unlearn things and start to implement new processes and start to design it for the generations after you. Um, it's okay for you to actually, oftentimes people are very like secretive about their pain. That's why I say I don't understand the obsession about pain. So if you think you are struggling, you're struggling to truly forgive people, because I understand some hurts you almost like, no, like I can't. It's almost like a fist fight, like you're boxing with this hurt. Like I can't just let it go because this person must be winning if I let it go. I was working with a couple because that's my field as a love coach. Um, there was infidelity in the marriage, and the wife was struggling so bad to let it go because he felt as if I've already threatened him that if he continues, because this has been happening, if he continues, I'm gonna just go. I just have to just leave it all and just walk away. And and the battle here wasn't even like, because now my ego is bruised because you were already warned, you were already told, you were already, so it's like this is it. I explained to you that I don't tolerate this. You've done it a few times, and I stretched my capacity to, you know, remain here and all of that. So at this point, when you know that you're struggling, it could be any kind of hurt. It doesn't always have to be infidelity, but whatever capacity or nature of the hurt is important that if you're truly struggling, it's okay to speak to other people. It doesn't always have to be you speaking to a therapist or you speaking to a counselor or a coach or something. It's good if you can afford it, and it's good if you have access to it. But sometimes it's also good for you to join communities where it seems like there are people with like minds, people who may have similar experiences and they have overcome. On social media, especially like Facebook, I think, I believe in on other platforms as well, like Instagrams and other places, they could have like community of people who may have similar experience to yourself. So you might want to harness that opportunity. If you have trusted family, friends, or people you trust generally, friends, family, wherever the network of people, the support system you have, it's important for you to share that. Oftentimes, people hold on to certain experiences just because they are fearful of being vulnerable. I was speaking to a few of my clients the other day, and they kept saying things like, okay, this is a safe space for me, and I'm really grateful that you could, be this person and all that. And one of the things I mentioned to the couples, even the single people that I coach, I let them know that, talking or sharing your personal problems is therapy in itself. You don't always have to pay somebody who gives you a listening ear with the title of therapist for you to feel it's therapy. You even sharing with these people that you trust to a certain level, trusting them, to a certain capacity, is actually another way for you to truly overcome your pain, your fear, your your struggles in general. So a lot of the things you experience has been experienced by multiple people. Multiple people. I don't believe in secrets personally. I'm sure you would have seen that in some of my videos. I don't believe in secrets, like people who hold on to some of their life experiences just for fear of, they are actually like anguishing and going through a lot of trauma, but they are not willing to speak to someone because it's like that's just too much of a vulnerable space for me to be in. And I always say that because this particular story is associated to you does not mean it's unique. It's a unique story. A lot of people have gone through similar stories. The only secret I ever see and believe in is death, because nobody has ever experienced death and come back and told the story. So that makes it a secret. But anything else you're going through in any form of relationship, especially in a romantic space or domain, it's not unique to you. You've experienced what many people have experienced. I'm not trying to trivialize your experience, but it's important for you to know that there is always a place or help somewhere for you. That is the essence of this story that I'm actually trying to bring to light in this my lecture. I stress the importance of forgiveness just so that people have the courage to consider it, as opposed to, I am going to just lock it out so it doesn't hurt, you know, it doesn't stink so badly. But whether you know it consciously or subconsciously, that is actually having some level of impact in your choices and how you show up and live on a day-to-day basis, whether you're aware of it or not. But it's actually freeing just to know that it's less burden, just to know that I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but I forgive you for me, for my own peace of mind, for my own mental health, for my own physical health, emotional health. Um, it's actually a positive thing to consider. It's a gift you give to yourself. It's a gift you give to yourself. And a privilege to the person who hurts you, but not necessarily for them, but very much for you. So the way I have kind of coined the word forgiveness, like I kind of formed this acronym for forgiveness. So F is forgiving. This represents the fact of you just pardoning someone of their mistakes and their offenses. just letting go of the resentment or for you to or the desire for you to revenge. Because oftentimes we want to start scoring points. You see a lot of couples doing tit for tat. You did me wrong, I'm going to do you wrong so we can score. So but when you give yourself that platform and the opportunity, the gift to forgive people, you will look beyond. I was counseling another couple just a few months ago. They happened to be doing tit for tat. A lot of the things that wasn't spoken before, maybe during, they never did like premarital counseling or dating counseling. So this has actually manifested in their relationship. This is just the first year of marriage. So now they are running to seek for help. And one of the things that came out with a lot of their behaviors was just pretty much like tit for tat kind of mindset. And that is more like revenge. They become really revengeful towards one another. You did this, that's why I'm doing this. So even though it's out of my character, but I'm going to do it just so that I can feel good that we are now aligning in terms of us scoring this point. Let's see who's going to win. It's not about winning thing. So the O is open hearted. So I also look at it as open heart surgery or open operation. So oftentimes when we go deep, because a lot of the time people um, get even more confused hearing the word forgiveness. It's like no matter what, no matter how big the hurt is, just forgive. Sometimes it makes it even hard for people to just even want to consider forgiveness because it's almost as if my feelings is going to be diminished. My how I feel is almost irrelevant just because I have to forgive you. Like I've been saying in between all my slides so far, that it will almost seem as if the person who hurt you is winning. Having a context having a context to the why and the what would help when it comes to the open heart surgery, because it means that we are going in depth, like so deep into the why you did what you did, how that made me feel. You start to unpack and dissect and cleanse the different aspects that led up to that point, so that when you are actually forgiving and truly going through the process of the healing, it becomes easier. And than when people just come ask for forgiveness and want an immediate and express actions. Sometimes it becomes shallow because they haven't actually like gone to shake off and dust off those other residues and the poison that has been deposited as a result of your actions. So having an open surgery, going through that vulnerability without you holding back and thinking that I have to just keep this for myself, reserve this for myself, as long as you are not aware of it. You haven't done any service or any good to yourself by having to pick what you want to expose in the moment. So R is for reconciliation. So you are going to consider reconciling with the person. It's just like rebuilding relationship or friendship, but that does not mean the person will still become whatever you've made them to become. You don't have to live with them. You don't have to be with them in a sexual relationship, but you just want to be able to still have some level of friendship with them whenever possible. Grace, 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 kindness, generosity, you know. So having grace is almost as if you are not deserving of forgiveness, but I'm going to do it anyways. And this will also lead you to have inner peace. because you're releasing that negative emotion, and you're allowing and giving yourself the grace to not only grieve the past but also to heal from it. The V is valuable. So you are, what is of value from you forgiving is, again, you're strengthening relationship, you're fostering personal, growth and resilience. You are also promoting your healing process. Empathy is kind of linked to the other word, grace, because you have now kind of went there. You've went there. A lot of us run away from there. But now you have gone there. So it's easy for you to give the other person grace, because sometimes when you don't understand fully why people do what they do, it's almost seems as if they're very selfish or inconsiderate of other people's feelings, and you're not able to give them the grace that you should have, or the empathy that they need. And it's for noble. So noble is a virtue. You are just demonstrating strength of character and your moral integrity. Enduring is another, is E. This is an ongoing process, is the commitment that is involved, because first and foremost, you're going to be battling with a lot of things, within yourself. Just having to just release somebody who hurt you so badly, especially if you have a different picture of views of who this person is to you, like they can never do you wrong, and they did all of they did just because of their why or their what. And now you are questioning, where you stand with them, because it will affect a lot of the things and how you view life in general, outside of the person who hurt you. This will help you to also kind of tapping into your selfless self. So you're putting aside your feelings, you're putting aside your egos, and you are focusing on your healing, and just having to take yourself to, you know, a greater height with this person. So the last S is surrender. So you are literally kind of relinquishing what comes with control, just by holding past grievances, but just choosing to let go for your own peace of mind. Not because you're silly, not because you're stupid, not because your feelings don't count, not because you are low key empowering the person to go in freedom after all of the wrongs they did to you, you know. But having to do certain things that people almost consider impossible is another way for you to actually measure and see that you're actually growing, not in size, but in emotion. I just hope that a lot of the things I've said today you have received with an open mind, not a closed mind. Always remember it's a choice. But the main reason I wanted to build, the main reason I'm doing this video is to also give you the tools, the strategies you need to actually walk the path. And most importantly, for you to see that it has a lot of benefits. It has a lot of benefits. I don't know any single benefit of unforgiveness, any single benefit of unforgiveness. I don't know. So maybe this is a challenge for the channel. So if you can leave your comments in the section, just give me your own take on any form of benefit of unforgiveness. Always welcome to see your comments. So thank you once again for taking time to listen to what I have to say. And I hope you are actually jotting down things, you're writing down things. Just like with a lot of things in life, we tend to have a notebook for it and we're writing and jotting down things. I also want you to consider that with this channel or with this platform. make it your educational platform as opposed to some level of entertainment. I want you to, whenever you're on this channel, your focus is to suck in as much information as possible, and you're writing down as well as much as possible. As always, thank you and continue to have an amazing life.